On this episode, Jon Maddux speaks with productivity coach and top producing realtor Tina King. Tina has over 26 years of experience selling real estate and is known for her ability to drastically increase production on an individual and company basis. Listen closely as the two speak about how you can hack your schedule, get attention on LinkedIn, and much, much more.
Welcome to the $1 Million Mortgage Experience Podcast. Listen in as CEO Jon Maddux of FundLoans reveals tips, secrets, and origination ideas to fill your pipeline with $1 million opportunities.
Welcome to the show. I'm here with Tina King. How you doing today, Tina?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. It's fun. The sun's finally out, so it's made
It's been a little toasty the last couple of days, for sure.
It has, and we've needed it. I know we needed rain here in California, but sun is also needed. So
yeah,
that's
I was getting a little on the depressed side there for a minute.
It does. It affects your mood, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
does.
being in the cloudy days all the time.
Yeah.
Does that affect? I know as a coach, does that it affects people's moods. So moods affect sales, right? Tell us about how that might.
Well, my first
correlate.
rule is you can't be moody. Get over yourself, right?
Yeah.
Cloudy or raining or whatever we're going through, we have to keep going. We have to keep moving through it. So
and that kind of comes back to you not being you actually taking charge of your own reality or your own life, right?
One of my mentors said, whether it be a cloudy day or pressure or things aren't working right, you just press harder.
Right.
You press through it. So that's what
important.
I teach.
That's good.
It's hard, but it's doable.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So do you want to know the business side of me or the personal side of me?
Let's hear a little about the business side.
Okay. Yeah. Business side, almost 27 years now in the business. And I started out in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Keller Williams came to town and we all joined them. We were with a company called Realty Executives at the time. And I was in alignment with another top producer there. And I was fairly new at the time. So I was his buyer's agent. Okay. And so we all went over to Keller Williams. And then I was anti-education and anti-coaching at the time. So yeah, I wasn't into it. It wasn't for me. I just wanted to go, go, go. I'm super type A. Yep. And so then what happened was I was very successful and doing really well. And Keller has a big educational model, right? So I started kind of paying attention, and because people were passing me up in production, and I started paying attention to that, and I thought to myself, maybe I should look into this. So I started getting into it and learning the systems and the models and how to run a true business versus just seat of my pants. Right. And it literally lit my business on fire. Wow. And then I started building my own team after a certain time, and I've aligned myself with other professionals throughout the years as business partners. I'm kind of a team player, so I really like to do things with other people versus just the lone arranger person that a lot of people like to be. And to me, together we're more successful. So that always worked out well for me. So anyway, I became like a productivity coach with them. That's fast forward quite a few years. And we created that model around some other people across the nation that were trying some things out. And I sat down with my, at the time, team leader at the Keller Williams office, and we put our heads together. And we put our heads together on that, and we created this model, and we just tried it. And within a year, the company dollar just went through the roof. Wow. We increased it by, I don't remember what the percentage was, but it was pretty high. And then the national Keller Williams took notice and made it part of their model. And then some other great folks at MAPS Coaching took it to a whole nother level, and it just went crazy from there. So I'm pretty proud of that. Yeah. Is my name on a plaque somewhere because of it? No, it's okay. It's just I was part of that chain that needed to happen to create that model. And we made it very successful. So I'm pretty excited about that. That was a really good lift in my career. And it catapulted me into more of the management, more coaching, took me out of sales at that point. And then I did that for almost, 10 years with different companies throughout, coaching and leading, regional management, growing companies. My favorite is turnarounds. When there's a company in trouble, my favorite is turnarounds. And there's one specific one that was not doing well here in San Diego, doing well in other parts of the country. We were literally number 41 out of 41 offices in the nation. And I got in the seat and took it from a negative $1 million in revenue to $8.5 million in revenue in the first year. Awesome. And so there's different ways that I was able to accomplish that. Coming from a strong Keller Williams background, that was really helpful for me. So
that's awesome. So do you take So is that the only time you've done that, where you've taken a company from negative to positive, or you've gone around and done that with other companies?
I've done a startup, not a startup, but a startup in a region from another company that's very successful in Las Vegas, and they were doing pretty well in Orange County, and then they decided they wanted San Diego. So I started San Diego from the ground up, finding the offices, the leasing, the recruiting. I was also a branch manager. Got it to a certain level of success, and then they handed the baton to someone else, which is fine. And then that took me back into the market of sales at that moment, but I was okay with that. I did get it to a level of success, probably not where they want it, but I did get it to a place where now somebody else could take it to the next level.
That's cool. Well, I mean, there's certain strengths people have, right? Like some people are starters, and some people are growers, and some people are managers, and some people are that can sustain something great. And
that's boring.
Yeah, that's boring for certain people, right? Some people might love it, but for someone like you, I could see where that your drive and your ambition is what drives you to grow things.
The challenge, right?
And turn things around, right, from a negative point.
It's totally a challenge, and I love that part of it. It's hard on me, but I think it would be boring if it wasn't. So, yeah. That's
cool. So you sold a lot of homes. You've worked with a ton of realtors, like you said. And what would you say is kind of like a theme across a bunch of salespeople? Like, what is a theme of something that's actually changed their business? Is there a... I wouldn't say like a secret, but is there something that really makes a difference kind of across, hundreds and hundreds of people that you've done? Is it a mindset? Is it just working harder? What is there something that's kind of a theme to
the goal
making
is not
success?
To work harder, of course.
Right.
Some people think it is. They want to, go forward like a bull, and they think it'll just all work out and everything's breaking around them.
Right.
They'll have some success, but they'll end up burning out. And so really the educational piece that I learned, obviously the proper training, right? There's a level of people out there or a class of people in our industries that will get stuck in the training side, like, the perpetual student.
Right.
Why they get stuck there, I don't really know. They may not have the success level that others will take. I believe in taking a sip of education and going out and trying it and failing.
Yeah. You got to fail, yeah.
Yeah, and there'll be some success in that as well, but failure is part of it, right? Failing Forward by Jon Maddux. It's a great book. So, the common theme for change and for them to get it is the education piece, making sure they're trained. Now, you've got some top producers, and then you've got a whole nother level below that, right? So it's a different mentality, right? You've got great mindset for the most part on the top end because they've already done the education piece. They've got the confidence level. They've got the success under the belt. They've got the performance habits. They've got those things.
Right.
Where they need work is just consistency and leverage. Like we talked earlier before we went online about get the housekeeper, buy your groceries online, plan your family vacations. Don't mow over your family because divorce happens. Yeah. So there's some balancing act that we have to do at the top, right? And I also believe education doesn't stop for the top producer.
Right. Continued.
Your mid-level folks, in San Diego, I would say your people doing 6 to maybe 20 transactions, somewhere in that range. Those folks are in need of some assistance. They're in need of some education around business. P&L, setting up a real business and making sure that they're doing and putting in systems in place and then maybe hiring their first assistant. So there's a level there that we want to look at. We call them tiers. I'm actually a coach at this time with an organization called Club Wealth. Okay. And so we do everything in tiers. Okay. So I'm in tier 3 now with my business partner, Siri Rall, and we're in tier 3 coaching. And what that is a certain level of transactions. A tier 4 coach is our coach. So they've been there where we were, and they're above us. So there's different needs at each level. Our level now is recruiting. Okay. So at a tier 3 level, 75 plus transactions.
How important is it to get a personal assistant? Like if you're let's say you're just a high producing loan officer, or even you're just a mid-level producing loan officer, do you think that by hiring yourself an assistant, even though you maybe can't afford it yet, or you can't, you don't maybe have a full-time job for them yet, is that a smart thing to do? Hire someone? Tell us why.
Why? Because you need that time leverage, and you need to clear your mind so you can do the dollar productive activities. Right. I'm kind of a handy person, so just a quick example of my life. I had some Ring floodlights I wanted to put up. I could do it.
Right.
Pretty easy. But if they sat in the box for 6 months, I hired an electrician, paid him $125, and I stood there and watched him do it while I was, setting up a listing appointment.
Right.
So it's just, you got to make those kind of decisions. And it may mean more time with your family.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
which is priceless.
Right. It is priceless. So by me not doing the grocery shopping for an hour, hour and a half, or whatever that is,
right,
I could be home with them.
Yeah.
Having a nice meal or whatever. So you got to think that through. And yes, spend a little money because you're going to make a lot more. Just cut out all the fat of your life.
It's important.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, some of us, it takes that extra push, like, okay, do it. Go get an assistant or hire somebody because, like you said, a lot of us are hands-on people. We do, I'll just do it myself. But then if we do that and we continue to do that, we never have a chance to grow or to scale or leverage, like you said. That's very good advice.
Well, I just want you to know I learned that the hard way because I'm the one who wants to fix it all, do it all, be it all, right? Not for the attention of it, but just that's how I'm wired.
Right.
And it's been really hard. My business partner, Siri Rowell, actually, me being a coach and helping others with that has been great, but I need a coach too. Right. And so I have one. Plus Siri, my business partner, she's more systems focused. We probably have one of the best set up business organizations for a small organization than I've seen in some of even the largest companies I've run. I've run some of the largest companies in the nation. And I'm telling you, I have a realtor that I'm aligned with now, and this goes for the mortgage process with teams or whatever. Make sure you have systems in place for the business side to leverage your time as well.
That's good.
And
technology?
Technology, whether it be a really robust CRM or, and automatic drip systems, just that simple kind of stuff that many people don't even know.
Yeah.
And, your sphere of influence. How do you stay in touch with the people that you've already done business with, depending on, whether you're on the broker side or wherever you're at. So, yeah, got to have those systems or you're not going to do it. You're going to just think about it. It's just going to take up way too much mind share for you.
Right. The last podcast that we did, Johnny, was with someone who really, really preached that you should get a coach. So if you're in the mortgage business and you're a mortgage broker, he was like, you need a coach. He's like, that's one of my biggest pieces of advice is get a coach. And what do you know? We have a coach here sitting here.
Yeah. So right on. So hire me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But tell us why. I mean, he told us a little bit why, but I'd love to hear from a coach's perspective. Why is it worth the money to hire a coach?
Well, first, before we go there, a coach. What kind of coach?
Right. Well, I think sales coach. Right?
But I think the mistake is it's not a one size fits all. And so you can go to, and I'm not going to name company names, but there's a coaching organization that's pretty big, and basically all they're going to say to you is, how many calls did you make? How many this? How many of that? What are you going to do differently next week?
Right.
And that's as far as it goes. Maybe that's the type of coach somebody needs. There's other coaches that will dig into the systems. So I believe that you elevate from one style of coach to another. At the lower level of production of salespeople, whether it be in mortgage or in real estate, I would say you need that accountability coach.
Yeah.
You need somebody who's going to kick you in the butt. And just to put it all together for you on the other question you asked me, for all levels, consistency is what helps people get to the next place. Consistency in the right activities. Right. So it's very simple. So that coach may be that person to instill that in them and help them build the right habits. The next level might be that mid-range where now we're teaching or coaching, and teaching, because coaches do teach, the systems and the leverage and how to hire properly and those kind of things. So you have to find that kind of coach for the level that you're at and the level you want to get to. So that to me is very important, because people will say coaching didn't work for me. Okay, well, what did they do? Well, they just told me to make calls. Okay, well, I make my calls already. Okay, well, then that wasn't the right coach.
Right.
Or maybe the right coaching organization.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even like the top people that you can think of, like Tony Robbins has a coach, I mean, like so coaches even have coaches, right? Because you believe in that. You believe that that's going to help you do what you need to do. I mean, I think for a lot of people out there that might be like, oh, I don't need a coach, right? They just blow it off. But, and we're not here selling anything. I'm not trying to push anyone's coaching, but no. I mean, I've personally had a coach maybe once in my life. I don't have one right now, but it's certainly something I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about getting myself an assistant. So if you guys know anyone that's a great assistant, please send them my way. But also a coach, like someone that can really get me to a next level, because we all can improve. The sky's the limit. So I think that's great advice.
And your coach needs to also show you what a great assistant is. Somebody could walk in here and you're like, I love that person. They are so awesome. They're like me. Mm-hmm. Don't hire them, right?
Because you need someone not like you, right?
Right. Yeah. So there's some, assessments out there like the DISC and that are helpful for those kind of things. And they can teach you, if they know their stuff, what you need to look for in that hiring process.
Or in a assistant. That's good. That's really good. So let's talk about, I think our viewers are really interested in referrals, right? So like we do jumbo loans. We're trying to find jumbo loans out there. People buy leads. People go to the regular low hanging fruit, like go find their local agent, and try to get referrals from them. What is some cool places that you've seen agents get referrals from? Or mortgage people get referrals.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, right. Business. Okay, so the first line I was going to say out of my mouth was, I'm never too busy for your referrals.
Right.
But
that's a good line, and I've seen that on people's signatures, right? Is that a Brian Buffini thing?
It is Brian Buffini, but it works. Yeah. And it's not the only, that's just the tip of the iceberg of what needs to be done.
Right.
So in building a referral business, it's a longer growth to do that.
Right.
Everybody wants the now business.
Yeah. The now loans.
So there are many top producers that I've coached that have no clue about how to get referrals.
Yeah.
Some just come to them just because they've been in the business and they've helped the generations of the family and it just happens. Mm-hmm. But they are not taking a proactive approach towards their database that they have a gold mine in already. Mm-hmm. It's a huge mistake. And they're spending $150,000 a year on leads.
And they're not paying attention to their existing database. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So they're just taking the quick stuff that comes to them, right?
Yeah.
And that is across the board for mortgage folks. That's across the board. It's a mentality of it, right? Mm-hmm. I believe in both and on that. I believe in having a database of enriching relationships.
Right.
So if it's mortgage, you're out there building relationships with agents. So how do we do that?
Yeah.
So we need to back up to that, right? Mm-hmm. How do I even penetrate that market? Like, do I go stand in the caravan at the back wall and hope to get a eye contact with somebody?
Right.
Maybe that's part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out there.
You got to do you got to do a lot of things.
Yeah. So relationship building, something like you're doing, providing value to your industry is going to bring people to you because they see that you have, you're bringing them value. Mm-hmm. So items of value, what is that for a mortgage person to give to the industry?
Right.
It might be just a rates video that they do, or, video's pretty big right now. It might be something like, but it has to be, I said the word earlier, consistent.
Yeah. You can't just do one video on Instagram and be like, it didn't really work for me. I didn't get any, I got a couple likes and nobody called me. You're like, well, nobody called you because you only did one.
Yeah. So that's ground level. You have to build that.
Right.
And start getting the value out there and getting some attention, right? So if you don't already have success under your belt, you're really going to have to double down on that.
Right.
Okay? Success will help you grow relationships because people's heads are starting to turn.
Yeah.
Right?
You want to work with people that are successful.
We're huge on Yelp.
Yeah.
We get 3 to 5 transactions a month on Yelp. Some people are anti-Yelp, but we have amazing reviews. So reviews are another aspect that you want to point your target at and really work on getting some reviews built up. I used to just basically throw my reviews away back in the day because there wasn't really a platform. I'm super old, everybody. So
you don't look old.
Thanks, but I am. So back then it was like it was like I'll put it on my letterhead and send it out on my monthly mailing.
Frame it, put it up.
I didn't really know what to do with it.
Right.
But now there's all these platforms that are available that you
LinkedIn,
can.
Yelp,
LinkedIn's
Google
fantastic.
Reviews.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a way to find clients and build relationships on LinkedIn.
Right.
Just looking for commonalities in LinkedIn. That's how we do it as realtors, or some do, not very many, but we do. You go on LinkedIn, you find commonality, whether it be a hobby or whether it be something to do with the business or you're into boating, whatever that might be.
How do you get someone's attention on LinkedIn though? Because I'll be honest with you, I have LinkedIn. I have a lot of quote unquote friends on LinkedIn, but I get hit up on LinkedIn every single day, 10, 20 emails a day.
Sure.
And most of them I glance at it. I don't even give them more than 2 seconds because there's so much content that they put in there. Like they put links and they put, hi, it looks like a copy paste message, right?
Well, there's your problem right there.
Yeah. So, how would you, I know how I
Not your problem.
Right, but their problem.
Their
right?
problem. Somebody else did it.
Like I know how to reach someone on LinkedIn, or at least I at least know how to improve my odds of reaching someone on LinkedIn. I would love to hear a coach's perspective on that.
Okay. A proven method is, again, backing up to find something in your searches of commonality. Okay?
So you have to do a little work before you
have to do some work ahead of time.
Copy, paste, send.
Absolutely.
Right?
I've actually taught a class on this. So you have to do some work, and then you design the message accordingly.
So it's work, right? People don't.
It's consistency on there too.
It's work and consistency. What I see is a lot of laziness. People just copy pasting and playing the numbers game, right? Somebody's going to respond.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't.
But they don't.
I don't.
And the ones that you want to get don't respond.
Right.
They just pass you over, right? When actually there could be something there that could be beneficial and add value.
Right.
If they could catch my attention and I'd read it and then it made sense for me to engage, right?
I'd be like, and this is just an example because I used to ride a Harley years ago.
Cool.
This is just a quick example, right? So I put it up there, find people who are in the industry if I were looking for that, right?
Yeah.
Other realtors if I was in mortgage, and I would have a picture of my Harley, and I would send that out in a personal message to them. I would connect and see if they will connect with me and say, let's go on a day ride sometime.
Nice.
I live in Encinitas or whatever, right? So, and if they don't respond, they don't respond, but it's still not that one hit. It's next time you go back with congratulations or happy birthday or, some way of shaping a connection.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to, not just one person, you have to do a good handful because there's going to be a percentage that just don't respond no matter what you do.
You're busy.
But if you get one or two or three that you never had before, and now it results in a huge transaction or two, or just building a great relationship, and now it's not really about them, it's about who they know.
Yeah.
Right? Who are they going to refer to you? Right?
Who's in their circle?
I had a realtor come to me the other day, and we were looking at her to join the company, and we have a small brokerage that we've started as well as our amazing team that we have.
Nice.
But she came to us the other day and she said, you know what, I have a database of people, and this is the mentality thing for even mortgage folks. I have a database of people, but I don't think they have very much money and da-da-da-da. I go, you know what? It's who they know.
Yeah.
Right? Brian Maffini, I think, tells a story, or used to on stage, about a janitor, that he befriended and built a relationship and then ended up referring a ton of people to him, right?
You never know, and you can't judge a book by its cover.
There's no judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no judgment. There's just connection. And there's no boundaries to that. You just
never
connect.
know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you can't judge a book by its cover. Like we've had times when we've gone into brokers' offices and, you might have a person sitting there, in a small little desk, and they're not the boss, they're not the manager, they're just a, loan officer. And, it's so easy to walk by them. They're wearing shorts and a hat, and you just don't think that they're doing much business. Yeah, Vans. But and then you go and talk to them, and then they have like 5, loans on their desk, and they're the exact, so you gotta, I think you're right. You can't just judge a book by its cover, and you can't, you've got to reach out with commonality and just, right? Like you just gotta, it's more of consistency.
It's a process.
Yeah.
So it is a long game.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta play the long game.
However,
right.
It needs to be happening while you're hitting the now business.
Right.
So to me, it's a both and balance. If you're so focused on buying the leads and trying to get your 3% or whatever your conversion rates are, not really sure, but you are going to get what comes at you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's people you don't even want to work with, right? So let's build
Had a couple of those.
Let's build a business that's going to be fun.
Right.
Over time. And you're going to take and pick from those people from the now business and go, I want to repeat those people 5 times. So now you put them in your attention database and you're going to stay in touch with them, and there's items of value or videos that you send out to them or a newsletter, something that keeps in front of them that continues to bring value to those people long after the transaction's over.
Yeah.
The majority of realtors, and probably I would say mortgage folks, next, right? What was her name again? They don't mean to.
Right.
They're busy. Next thing is happening.
Right.
However, that's where systems come into play again, right? We got to have some systems in place to help you with those things. And so it might take some investment of money, investment of time. Most type A people like myself don't want to deal with that. So hire somebody to do it.
Yeah,
but do it.
You can hire someone who's really good at paying attention to detail and going after and finding the commonalities that you have between people, right? That would be a great job for someone that could be an assistant and could look on LinkedIn for, you like Harleys, so go find me all the real estate agents or all the mortgage people that also like Harleys and go on Facebook, and then you give me a list, and then you can go,
Here's your next assignment for your business development manager, if you have one here. Absolutely. So there you go.
It's really like, I think it takes a little bit of brain power, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of planning, a little bit of energy and effort. And
it's not rocket science. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
However, it's hard to get to it.
Yeah.
Right.
People are people, right? You got to find out what makes them tick. And
that's why I go back to the coaching. Each individual is different. Each level that they're at is different. And so we have to find out what that is and what we need to correct. Because everybody has something broken,
What do you do when you have, so some of our viewers probably have loan officers that work for them.
Right.
What do you do when you have loan officers that are just not productive?
Okay. Well, in the beginning, there needs to be an expectation set. So it might be a 90-day or 120-day ride. Right. So you're already set up for that. And you onboard them properly, which most companies struggle with an onboarding process, that everyone that I've run, right? And we're perfecting ours. So you've got to have a really good onboarding. You got to wow them just as much as they need to wow you,
That's good.
Because they're actually your client as well,
Right,
They're helping feed your family too. So you need to wow them. With whatever it is your model's about, and make sure that they're following the steps that they need to do and following instruction. So they've got that ride for 90 days. So you have investment up front. Yeah, right. And a lot of companies don't want to do that kind of investment because they're like, well, what if they don't work out? Well, what if they do? Right.
So you got to put your best foot forward, and at least if you're hiring them, you got to hope that they're going to do good, right?
Right. And that goes back to the personality assessments as well. You might want to plug into like a DISC format or something.
But what if you're like 6 months or 8 months in and you didn't do all those good things, and now you got some unproductive loan officers?
They're unproductive. Okay. And what I've always done with agents is I literally put them on like a 60-day like performance improvement, almost like a corporate, but I don't try to be corporate.
A PIP, performance improvement plan. Yeah.
I've never been on one myself, but I have put a few people on them. So like a PIP.
How do you do that to where it's positive? Because I think a lot of people get a PIP and they're like, oh man, they want to get rid of me. And
I want to call it a positive
improvement plan.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what I want to call it. And that's what I call it. And so it is a positive, and you create it, it's positive. And it's a coaching experience for 90 days, right? So they have to go back to square one, and they have to go baby steps again. And you give them that recharge. And if they don't do it then you got to release them to the marketplace, because you're probably doing them a favor anyway.
Yeah, it's
right?
true. It's true.
At that point, there's going to be investment. Let's hope you get it right out the gate, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Right?
So I watched this show called Billions, and there's a person, do you ever watch that show, Billions?
No, I have not.
So there's a person on there who, I forget her name, but she works for this hedge fund, and she's a coach, but she works for the company, and she's kind of like HR, but she's really a powerful coach, and it's so impactful what she does for it's a hedge fund, so they're all traders and but whatever she does, her coaching just completely changes their performance, and so I could see where that works. Does that resonate at all with, like, do you think companies should hire a coach that works at their office every day?
What is that book?
I don't know.
There's a book that's all about that, and I can't think of it right now. One of my mentors says that book reminds her of me. And I read it. I was like, I can't think of it. I'll think of it hopefully in a moment. But yes.
someone that works at your office
in
that's in the company, and they are like the go-to, like someone's bummed out that day, go see Julie or whatever.
That was the idea around the productivity coaching program at Keller Williams, where it was just a hyper-focused approach on that's all I did.
And you go see Julie, and she just gets you fired up and then sends you out.
Right. So we fire them up. Sometimes we're a cheerleader, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we deliver bad news. Sometimes we it's tough love. So it depends on the person and the situation.
Right.
So yes, I think that's key. You will have better retention and you'll have higher productivity.
Interesting.
That's how I took a company from -$1 million to $8.5 million in revenue in the first year. Is tough love.
Were you that person in the company?
I was the be all end all. And I hired a recruiter, so that took that off of me.
Yeah.
And I had a broker, so I didn't have to worry about that. I had to grow and retain people, right? And then take care of my staff. And nobody else in the past 8 years had any success. It was losing money hand over fist. And I went in there and I asked the CEO, "What do you want to see from me?" And
what did he say?
He said, "I want to see this thing, up over 7 million." And I'm like, great. He didn't give me a timeline.
Okay.
And I did it in a year. I did 8.5.
Wow.
And it was the worst position I ever had, but the best.
Well,
okay.
You made a huge impact.
Well, they tried to micromanage me.
Okay.
And they were based out of San Francisco, and I was here in San Diego, and they basically tried to micromanage me. So that's another thing you need to be aware of. There are people that are self-starters that know their stuff. Now, I didn't know their model. It's very high-tech based real estate incoming leads. I just came off of Keller Williams. It's a whole different world.
Sure.
However, I took that torch and brought it in and instilled the culture. Culture is also important that I think, a coach can help with in your organization, or if you have a coach or you're the CEO of a company, you need to bring good culture to the company.
Culture's huge. Yeah.
So we can talk about that if you want to. I mean, we could probably talk for 4 hours.
There's so many good things to talk about, right?
Totally, right?
Well,
so there's just some simple ingredients, though, that I think are key.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. You've worked with a lot of successful realtors. What would you say if you were a mortgage broker right now, and rates are good, non-QM is a new side of the business. That's what we're doing. But you were, okay, the rates are going to go back down, right? The rates are going to go back up at some point. What would you do to go out and make new referral sources? Like, how would you get it? Would you go after, because everyone goes after realtors, right? So there's probably some good ways to go after a realtor and some bad ways to go after a realtor.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you think would be the best way to approach.
It depends. If they have a success track record, that's going to get the door open much quicker.
Right.
If they flat out don't know these realtors they're trying to touch. A lot of mortgage officers out there lead with rate. I don't know that that's always the best.
Yeah.
We signed up.
Then you can lose, tomorrow if the next person has a lower rate. So it's a little hard to.
And that's how some of the consumers shop, right?
Yeah.
And when we're working with them on the real estate side, we're going, oh no, we have no idea who this loan company is. They're somewhere online. Oh my gosh, and they're a number. So we got to treat number one people like people.
Right.
Right. So take the whole number equation out of it. So we've had a loan officer that we were using best rates ever. I mean, even when the rates were higher, but horrendous customer service.
Yeah.
Our name is on that.
Yeah.
Right? So the customer is the buyer. Mortgage person is taking care of the loan.
Yeah.
They totally derail the whole thing. The mud gets slung at us. Up goes bad Yelp review about us.
Right.
So you got to build that trust first.
You do.
And hopefully you have some success track record that'll get you in that door.
Right.
So how do you do that, right?
Right.
So let's back up to you got to bring value, right? You got to bring value. Maybe you're sending a video for tips for realtors. Maybe you're some way to pierce that door to get in that door with that realtor. It's not going to be the rate sheet.
Yeah.
Okay? They got to make sure that you're going to take good care of their clients. Period. End of story.
They got to trust you, like you said. And I think a lot of that comes from just relationship building.
It is. And it takes time.
Yeah.
Again, all of this takes time, and most of us don't have the patience for it. And you need to be consistent with it.
That kind of goes back to doing what you said, where it's like, it takes time. So you need to allow yourself to have time by shopping online, by having an assistant take care of the light bulbs, or having an electrician do that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, you need to value your time so that, and not like, I think so many of us, someone told me one time, busy is a choice. And we all are busy, right? We're all doing things. We all can make our lives busy and eat up our time by little things like that we choose to do, the choice thing. And if we just value our time and keep it sacred and let all these little busy things like grocery shopping and doing our bills and, you know, checking our Facebook, all these little things that we think are so important, if we move those over and take the time that we need to invest into ourselves and into our business, I think we'll find a
So I can give you a tip on how to accomplish that.
Okay.
And anybody can do this. This is what we do with you in coaching. Is we want to create, and there's nothing perfect about a schedule, but let's create a perfect schedule. And you can literally just take a spreadsheet, put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And why am I doing 2? Well, one is going to be, what do I feel my perfect, if I really carved everything out and got that assistant and leveraged my grocery shopping and all those things, what would my perfect day look like? And, you know, there better be at least 3 hours of prospecting and following up in there.
There has to be, yeah.
And then there's got to be some appointment time. And those important dollar productive things need to be in that block of time. And you color code them, right? And then the next day, and you do it for the whole week. And then family time at night, whatever that's going to be for you. Then the next day, you literally are journaling what you are actually doing, because we're all creatures of habit. And what you're talking about is that busy work. Those are all habits that you already have. Right.
You're really your subconscious doing it.
Right.
And you're not even aware that you're doing it.
Do you go and get a juice every day?
No, that was the first time in like months.
Let's back that out, edit that out. However, some people, they go right to Starbucks or whatever, right? So they could go there and not even realize they went there, because that's what they do, or brushing your teeth, right?
Yeah.
So this busy stuff is the same thing. It's how we've trained our mind. So this schedule, and you must look at it every day. It can't be on your iPad or your computer or your iPhone. It has to be in front of you. And you literally have to adhere to journaling that for at least 2 weeks.
And you can compare it?
And you got to compare it. You can put it on the computer, but you want to print it every day. And you can have your color code so you can see how far you're off just by looking at color. So if you got green for prospecting and follow-up, but you're not seeing any green on that next day or the next day or the next day, and that's every day on your perfect schedule, you got a problem, man. We got to figure this out, right? So we've got, no wonder you don't have any money, right? So what is it? It's your activities that are going to bring your results, right? And so over time, we don't want a business like this. And I know you know people that are on that roller coaster. We want to build an exponential growth business, right? So exponential growth, and exponential is your results. So, and it's not a perfect line. It's just like an airplane flying across the country. It doesn't go perfectly straight across the country to Florida. It makes course correction all along the way. What we don't want to happen is we don't want you to get off into, flying off into some other country.
Cuba,
right? And get shot down, right? So that's what your schedule is. It's designed to help keep you between some kind of lines and keep you more consistent.
And it makes you aware of what you're actually doing.
Makes you super aware. Because we're not. Right. And I'm guilty of it too. I keep falling back into my old habits sometimes. And guess what? If you're not getting your workouts in, this is a great way to get that started. If you can at least nail that, you can accomplish the rest of it. Right. So if you say, I'm going to take a walk with my dog every day at 7 a.m. And you haven't done it for like 3 years, and your dog is like 20 pounds overweight, and so are you. Try it. Get out there. Right? And you'll be surprised. You'll start to see those results. And here's why people give up. They don't see the results.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And they go, and subconsciously they just go right back into their old habits. So having it visually in front of you, following the steps, and having someone look at it. I don't care if it's your wife or your manager.
And that goes back to having a coach, because I think why people give up is because they don't have a coach.
True.
Right? They give up because I don't see results. But if you had a coach, you'd go back.
They blame it on the coach.
or the coach. But I think if you're like maybe a month in, you haven't seen results, but then the coach is like, look, it doesn't take a month. It takes 2 or 3 months.
Right. Just that reminder.
Right. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, you're right.
Right. Exactly.
And then you just keep going. Then you will start seeing results. But I think that's a huge point. That's amazing. That like you gotta be patient and you gotta wait.
You've got to you've got to write it out because nobody really knows. You could tell me what you're doing and I'll be like, okay, you might want to try this. That's not good enough. It has to be literally looked at, examined, and followed. So yeah, that's just a tip that I think anybody can do.
I'd be surprised if we went back and looked and saw like what, and maybe we wrote down what we thought we were going to do, and then you go back and you look and see what you actually did. Like it'd be
2 weeks.
Be a shocker.
Just do it for 2 weeks without like really judging it, right? And I think that any organization can do that right now without a coach and have a little mastermind group shaped. You know, like the brokers out there with their teams. I think they could do a little mastermind group around that and make it fun.
Yeah.
Right? And just make it a process.
How would you make it fun?
I think it'd just be fun for everybody to collectively get together and share how bad they're messing up. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then hold each other accountable. Maybe they have accountability buddy or it's just the group. You know, there's just different little things you can do to help tweak productivity. But one of it is teamwork, right?
Yeah.
And helping your fellow teammate do better.
Right.
So that creates bonds, right? And they might even be looking at one schedule and say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you like to surf. Dude, I've been sitting next to you for 2 years, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, well, let's go surfing sometime.
Yeah.
Right?
That's cool.
Well, it's on my perfect schedule at 6:30 a.m. every day. Wow, it's on mine at 7. I can make an exception. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right?
I like
So
that.
now they're out there surfing and they're masterminding about business. That
We call
improves-
those board meetings.
Yeah, those are board meetings. Well, I've never been on one of those boards. It was one of my items that I wanted to do when I moved here back in 2005, and I still haven't done it. So I need to get out there.
Yeah. Well, the weather's getting warmer.
Yeah.
So you might,
the water's cold
you
and
might see you out
sharks.
on the. Might see you out
I
there
used
on
to
the
do
water.
triathlons out there. I used to see
did?
the shadows. Yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah, well, this happened here in San Diego recently. And
Exactly.
it's a little scary, but you never know when
dress
your time
like
is
a
come.
hurt fish, you might become somebody's meal.
Yes, you don't want that. What do you think is a good way for a mortgage broker to stand out from the crowd?
Again, success leaves clues. Right? Getting some success, being with potentially, I'm not so much about brand, but brand might come into play in some instances. Having those reviews, having some evidence. You have to have some evidence. Right? And if you're new, get on the coattails of someone who has that.
Yeah, that's smart.
It's super smart.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the general public, after being in management and coaching for 10 years of my sales career, out of 27 years, I came out the gate just over a year and a half ago and aligned myself with somebody I actually mentored back in 2005. And she was doing 50 transactions a year on her own, just by herself, and absolutely getting sick over the whole thing. I came along, and now we're going to be closing well over 100 this year.
Congrats.
And I've only been with her since, actually May of last year. So
nice.
So that's what I'm saying about, I didn't jump on her coattails because I needed leads.
Yeah.
Mine was very different because I was trying to decompress from the big corporate world, but I still have the passion to grow people. And so she helps me to feed me with that. So find what works for you and what you're looking for, and go out and get it. Now, we have agents come to us wanting leads, and I call it like crack.
Give me some drugs.
Yeah. And running Zip Realty, it was much like that.
Okay.
So it was all leads, right? And so anyway, that's a whole nother story. But you attract that, though. See?
Right.
So if you're leading with, hey, I've got leads, don't do that, right? Lead with what your success is. Lead with what that is, and that'll attract the right people into your life. And that includes realtors to work with you. So if you're not successful yet, get with somebody who is.
That's smart.
Right?
Yeah.
And make sure that you're getting that out there. The video, here, I keep going back to this. You got to keep just putting them.
You got to put it out there.
Our industry is saturated.
Yeah.
There's, everybody's got a real estate license. Everybody's doing mortgages.
You heard Aunt Jackie's got a real estate license, so she's just going to handle it for us, or whatever.
All that,
You're like,
right? Yeah. And so same for mortgage, right? So I really think that the way to stand out is get a couple successes and let everybody know about it. Just like when we're farming in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
I do kind of like an inside out farming method where I'm not just beating them with a bunch of propaganda. I have a success, and then I tout that success as much as possible.
Sure.
I make phone calls in the neighborhood. I let them know we sold that house for more than anybody has since 1969.
Yeah, that's good.
Sold in 2 days. They don't know that other houses are selling in 2 days.
Right.
I'm going out there.
But they're not hearing it, so they got to hear it from somebody.
Nobody's telling the story.
Right.
Tell your story.
Right.
It takes time, though. Have that patience. You might have to or want to buy some leads as well to you should always have that infill stuff going on, but don't put all your eggs in any one basket. You have to build different pillars in your business.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love it. So, what I usually ask my viewers, the last question is, what's your favorite failure? And the reason I ask that is because we all have to have failures, right? To be successful, it's like, the Thomas Edison, right? How many times did he fail making the light bulb? It wasn't failure to him. It was that many times that he found out a way not to make a light bulb, right? So like what would be something that you think was like your favorite failure, something that you learned a cool lesson from?
Ooh, there's so many, and I know you've probably heard that before, because I believe anybody who's successful has failed several times.
You have to have.
Several times. Right. And I'm not sure if I can call it a failure, but when I went into the seat at Zip Realty, it was an unknown model. To me, it was real estate, but it was an unknown model. They were beating me up. You would go to the board meetings and it was more about all the things you didn't do versus the great things that you did do, right? So it was like constant stomach ache.
Yeah, you don't want to go in there.
It was a horrible culture. I had people in my face every day screaming at me.
Jeez.
Realtors angry over whatever, right? And it took me a while but I also turned that around. And that was the greatest success. And it was probably the best thing ever on my resume, to be honest, over all the things I've ever done.
It's turning something around. Yeah.
I left there on a high note. They didn't excuse me or anything like that. I literally said, listen, I got to get back to my mojo because this model's not really speaks to me, even though I did a lot of great things here. Thank you so much. Got to go. They didn't want me to leave, of course. So that, and then a personal one. I moved here. I was making well over $250,000 a year in Arizona, which goes a lot further than $250,000 a year. Right. I moved here and literally went bankrupt in 5 months.
Wow.
But I met my life love, and I have a beautiful daughter, which I would have never even experienced that. And I've had the opportunity to meet so many amazing people, but I got to tell you, it was living HE double toothpicks in the beginning. And I'm like, why did I do that? I lost everything.
Wow.
And, but I came over here without a plan. I just, one day after 41 years in Arizona, said, I'm leaving. And I left. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anybody.
And it would have felt like a failure at the time, I imagine.
It was a huge failure.
And then you turned it around.
I was starving. I was working for Brian Buffini, nothing against him, but the salary was very low. And I was like, whoa, I'm following my passion. What am I not doing right? Right. So, of course, he always welcomed me back if I ever wanted to come back, but I had to go after the first year because I wasn't financially making it. I was dying. And so I went and I created that productivity coaching program. So when times are tough, and Gary Keller says this, the seeds of failure are planted in the times of success. And then the seeds of success are planted in the times of failure.
That's very cool.
Did I say that right? Because I now need lunch. Did I say it right?
I mean, that goes along with
I think I said it right.
The last guest we had was hard times create strong men.
Yeah.
Or strong people, right?
Honor the struggle.
Yep.
And also in structure, there is freedom. So get your systems in place, you guys, and make sure you're getting the assistance you need. You can't do it all. You're type A, you think you can. Yep. You can't do it all.
Can't do it all. And you're definitely not using leverage or scaling if you're just doing it all yourself.
Yeah, you won't scale.
Right.
You'll burn out. I burned out once in my real estate career.
Right.
I basically just gave up. I was selling so much real estate and I had a team, and it was that was another failure, I would say. It was not a good thing to walk into my team and puke negativity all over them. I'll never forget that. And so, but I recreated myself. We've all recreated. If you're not recreating yourself, you're dying. Like you got to constantly re-evolve. But so that's what I would say. That's my strongest advice: is get that in order. Get perfect.
An assistant. Get a coach. Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, the right coach.
The right coach.
Yeah, you might have to not kiss a few toes to get that coach, but do your research.
Well, thankfully, like you said, Yelp, and there's reviews out there. You can ask people. You could probably post something and say, "Hey, I need a coach. Does anyone have any good referrals?" And then go with a referral, not just the person that pops up with the ad.
Check it out and build a relationship with all those people. Right. Yeah. And stay in touch.
That's right.
Okay.
That's very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next one. Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you guys are looking for more content like this, we have a FundLoans YouTube channel where we give away more tips, secrets, and origination ideas. You can also email us at info@fundloans.com. And if you've made it this far, I think it's safe to say you like our content. So please subscribe, share, and send us your scenarios. Let's fund loans together.